Welcome back. We're here to cover the divine masculine energy for the week. And for those of you that don't know, I'm Yildiz from Yildiz Readings 5D, psychic medium, clairvoyant, and intuitive astrologer. Now, if you do need a booking, you can go to the website. All the information is directly below, as well as our exclusive membership site that hosts a beautiful community for those of you that want to join. We do have a landing page. Now, we're going to get straight into the read. And already I am seeing, especially from the crowning energy, we're going straight into it. These individuals have directly been impacted by everything that has been going on pretty much from the beginning of the year. And where it does come to their inner emotions, although they may be going into the internal level, it feels as though within the depths of that, they're actually gaining some clarity. Now, I do feel there is an element of frustration and revisiting the past. However, within this, it is to actually free them from a circumstance. This could be a family-related dynamic. It might be their inner emotions and how they directly feel about a circumstance. And I do feel at an intellectual level, this has been really overstimulating. And, you know, the best advice, especially for those of you that do kind of resonate with the masculine archetype, and we all have that directly within us, what you're going to find is it's going to be pretty important to actually anchor your energy in. And what do I mean by that? If you feel that your frequency is overstimulated and your mind is going at 100 miles an hour, you can't think. Many times we can tend to find we have a creative outlet. It could be that the information is coming to you very quickly, it's overstimulating you. Your idea of meditation, which especially I've noticed within my twin flame path, this is quite relevant. Many masculines will have a unique way in how they unwind and how they directly unpack circumstances. Sometimes it's moving into hermit mode and isolation. It could be playing a game. What example could I give you? PlayStation. It may be listening to music, like I mentioned, especially in my twin flame path, my idea of Zen and processing and unpacking energy is very different to a masculine archetype. That's the reference I'm making. And that's okay. That's your method. But be in the self-awareness that you are going to resolve these issues and these conflicts. You could be being quite critical on yourself about your own personal feelings and how you're directly navigating these transits and transitions within life. But I do feel these emotions quite heightened. I'm noticing how the glare off to the corner of the wing is coming through. What I'm directly feeling from that in an archetype setting, pardon me, is that you could be gaining some clarity about your direction, clarity about, where you're going and how you're going to go about that. So even though right now you may feel that this is quite blurred to you, I do directly feel you're going to be getting some clarity. And it's interesting. It's almost like it's going to be that thing that's really nagging on your shoulder. We get the analogy of the little bird on the shoulder, listening to the light or the dark. And I feel it's, you could be questioning within your ego, is it okay for me to desire this? Is it okay for me to, want this? And there could be some direction that it's really pulling you in, that you feel there's an inkling for you to directly address that is going to get you to that place. You are going to find this retrograde is going to serve a purpose. And when I reference retrograde, we are going to be having a Mercury retrograde. And we already get this coming through on the crowning energy. Moonlit goddess, it is the archetype of the inner emotion, the tribe, the family, the connection to self. We're moving through that. And here we have in the past position, which is where I think you're going to be revisiting. It is going to bring you a refreshed review frequency within this domain. Where do you feel safe? How can you be bold? How can you remember directly who you are? Reviewing those past feelings. And, you may actually surprise yourself that some of those feelings that resurface you want to hold with you, you want to take forward with you, you want to readdress. This can also connect to old soul tribes, old patterns, old belief systems and archetypes. This also can be a time in which you are really looking at where those complications were. Now, the interesting part about this month is we do have Juno shifting retrograde, simultaneously Mercury retrograde. And so there is a bit of a connection where, you might find that there's a lot coming at you, like I mentioned, but you might find you are judging yourself in some domain, with your connections, your past connections, what they meant, were they relevant? And yes, there could be a push-pull between the feminine and the masculine archetype, but it isn't the intention to ruin the path. It is the intention to really rework the things that aren't working anymore. You may find it doesn't come natural for you to communicate your feelings. You could find that some of these things come up in a blurting sense. And we have this at the heart of it. It's getting you to get in touch with these feelings, to articulate what those things are. And I feel, although you might feel it's quite awkward, it's by you directly honouring how you feel about these things that you can articulate it to others. For some of you, I do feel this is both true feminine and karmic cycles. We have the Temptress here, but again, it's about, how can I explain it? Even if you feel you're in between a rock and a hard place, if something resurfaces, it's there to be resolved. You could be tempted to go back into previous patterns and habits. I don't really feel that that's the case on this occasion. I feel it's more the context that you're going to be reviewing how much you have very much changed and where you are in your more self-awareness about maybe if somebody was trying to pull the wool over your eyes before, it's like you directly can see it. Maybe they would pull on your emotional strings and really creating a context between, does my divine feminine, for instance, do that to me? Or is this PTSD connected to the past? And you're trying to really re-navigate these emotions and where those traumas came from to directly move forward. And I feel that you're really breaking out of the shell. Initially, I do believe you are going to go inside yourself. And again, the intention and the archetype is there to ascend you further and to move you into deeper connections where you feel spiritually connected. Now, this reworking and this going backwards is to take you to the divine path. It is to get you back into a more peaceful state, a more accepting state. And especially if you have felt there was something that just was amiss and you just couldn't get the pieces of the puzzle back together again, like Humpty Dumpty. I do feel with this time frame, it is directly going to realign you to where you need to be and what you need to view. And potentially even some psychological blockages that you didn't even know you placed in there, they're going to be taken out and removed to prevent you from getting stuck and feeling that you are being disabled in a sense vibrationally. We see the liberation here, and again, we see the peace associated to it. That's something you really are wanting. It is going to come in ebbs and flows, and you may need to be very patient with this. We have been in this vibe this year, especially since 2020, of getting rid of the old and moving into the new. And even as the divine feminines feel frustrated in this path, you directly find you as an individual also are going through quite challenging upgrades, transformations, and going through maybe similar things that the divine feminine went through. However, for you, this is your path and this is something that you are integrating. You do tend to find your integration does come quicker, even though for those that were directly involved with you may have not felt so. Yours is accelerating extremely quickly. And so you do have the shoulders to endure this. It is going to push you into a higher ascension path, but it's not saying, hey, this is going to be easy. Even if you have to, I'm looking at these two cards here. We've got liberation and we've got rising above a situation in reverse. And what I'm feeling that this is saying is where maybe you did not own your voice, because we have the blue here. this is going to be a time in which you directly, in this retrograde, are having a simulation where you're going to have an opportunity to own your voice. Now, of course, when we say own our voice, create boundaries, sometimes we misinterpret that as being aggressive or verbally bold. You can communicate this in a very healthy way that is both assertive, understanding, and compassionate, which I directly feel you have the vibration for. I don't feel, especially from the cards I'm reading here, that you generally are in that vibration that you are going to use your throat chakra negatively, meaning you are not going to communicate out of, despair or just for the sake of it. This feels, once you have summed something up in your mind, and for some of you, I'll be real, this could come through well and truly before the direct comes in. And I don't feel that that's a bad thing. I feel it's more energetically you're being truthful to you. Some things maybe that weren't voiced and said, you could get to the root cause of it and start expressing these desires, insecurities, upsets, misunderstandings with individuals. This also could link to your divine feminine. However, the overarching energy is this revisiting is to liberate you. This revisiting is to get you where you need to be. And these heightened emotions need a home. Maybe they've been housed inside of you, really spiraling in circles. And, now universe is going, okay, we need to get you back to where you were before. We need to take a good look at this. We need to see the reasons this is coming up. We need to see the things that we have not said and felt ashamed to say, ashamed to address our own needs, ashamed that we had to make certain choices, ashamed of the past that is still living with us in the here and now, even though it is in the past, so that we can get back on our spiritual path of what we feel is for us, where we need to go, making peace with this past situation and resolving some of the analytics around it. Now, what do I mean by analytics? The devil in the detail. Does something need to be done in paperwork? Does something need to be said in word? Is there a review of the plan? Is there a discussion with particular individuals here to get you to a place that you're actually, going to actually say, okay, I do see in order for me to get from point A to point B, we're looking at this sacred journey. We have the tree, we then have the moon, we then have the sun, the star, and it feels like there is a process to this that is taking you to an absolute win here. This is taking you to your dreams. It's taking you to a breakthrough, and it is going to liberate you. So, putting the hard yards in, putting the hard work, and knowing anything that you're needing to readdress, review, redo is, pushing through that birthing canal to actually have that breakthrough, breaking free from the negative attachments. And, even the temptress here, I feel it's, this is very psychological. For many, it could be that you directly are separated, you're single. For some, it can be you're in a karmic relationship and you're looking at these circumstances. It could be binds of the past that need addressing, and you're finding a solution to this. But you're also noticing how your previous belief systems had limited you in some shape or form, and maybe you were tolerating things that were not tolerable. I do feel you're getting a blessing coming through here, and I do feel that this is for your future, and you're about to speak up, step up, and really express your truth. For those of you that do want a private booking, you can go to the link below. We can look at your joint connection. These are out weekly, so if you do want to take a look at the masculine, feminine, and karmic, you can take a look at it now. Otherwise, feel free to visit our website and to view our Sage in a Circle network, where we do have the sign-up page for exclusive membership that does provide these ahead of the crowd as well as ad-free, and much more. Take care, and I'll see you next week.